Hello, I'm Dr. Scott Watier.
And I'm Tommy Welling, and you're listening to the Fasting for Life podcast.
This podcast is about using fasting as a tool to regain your health, achieve ultimate wellness, and live the life you truly deserve.
Each episode is a short conversation on a single topic with immediate actionable steps. We cover everything from fat loss and health and wellness to the science of lifestyle design.
We started Fasting for Life because of how fasting has transformed our lives, and we hope to share the tools that we have learned along the way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Fasting for Life podcast. My name is Dr. Scott Watier, and I'm here as always with my good friend and colleague Tommy Welling. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Hey Scott, how are you?
Doing fantastic, my friend. Excited for today's conversation. We are going to talk about the summer and a summer without backsliding. So this came from conversations that we've had over the last few weeks, come out of our last challenge, some of our last Thursday coaching calls inside of our coaching group. And we really just felt it was going to be kind of like what we do at the end of the year with the holidays or the beginning of the year with New Year's resolutions and capturing that energy and motivation.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to do this in arrears. We want to set the intention and the mindset from the start. So we're going to talk everything transition. The seasons are changing. The summer is here. Memorial Day is behind us. So if you are new to the podcast, welcome in. Thanks for finding us. Thanks for giving us a shot. Hope to add you to the Fasting for Life, OGs, the people that are going to be on this journey with us. Shout out to them as well. If you want to know more about how fasting transformed our lives, head back to episode 0, episode 1, give it a listen. Really just the starting point of why we do what we do week in and week out, why we do the podcast, why we have the resources on the website, why we do the challenges, why we have the coaching, because it was so transformational for us, and we realized that so many others could benefit, and it just kind of took a life of its own. So we're so grateful to be here. Thank you for all of the shares and likes and rates and reviews and downloads and subscribes and all of the things that I don't fully understand. But Tommy, I know we want to give a shout out before we dive into today's conversation about the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. So over on Spotify for episode 314, B Julia 33 said, newish listener, good IF routine, catching up on episodes. So welcome, Julia. Love the practicality. I use fasting info to inspire my longer fast, which is a really, really cool way to do it. Love the closing advice, visualizing December 2026 in positive terms. And she says, I choose to turn from negative weight loss towards, quote, I love feeling light, bright, energetic, clear, and creative when I reach ketosis. Thank you guys. 5 stars, of course. Thank you so much, B. Julia. And that's a great way to look at it. I love the positive framing going into, we're coming up here on the second half of the year and just looking ahead towards what's possible.
I just shuddered when you said that.
Yeah, I know it's crazy, but just like the seasonality of today's episode, look ahead towards what's possible for the rest of the year here, and you can continue the momentum that you've been building or that you've been working on, or you can really, really accelerate it and just light the rest of the year on fire, even if you're not exactly where you want to be at this point during the year, right?
Yeah, and we want to come very actionable episode today. So we're going to talk and kind of put some action steps and things into like 5 things: fasting windows, food choices, hydration, movement, and mindset in your environment. Because the reality is Memorial Day is behind us. School is now out. The calendar just got loud. Mm-hmm. It just ramped up, especially in our life here, in all of kind of the circle of our social influence and our families that we do sports and school and church and all that stuff with. There's this feeling for teachers and for moms and dads, and I work from home, that, when summer is out, it's like school's out for summer, right? Like, let the chaos, like this, the calendar got loud. We've got travel and the kids are home and in-laws are visiting, and you've got vacations and graduations and pool parties and barbecues and
beach trips
and all of this thing. So we see this every single year. You start the year with great intention. Maybe you had a little reset after the holidays, or maybe you enjoyed the holidays and you gave yourself some grace, right? We talk about that every single year through November, December, and January. Consistently, the episodes we do are very geared towards that mindset shift. Because once your mindset shifts, then everything else follows. But people that had like real momentum, and this is why it came up in our coaching, is that it's like, all right, I don't have as much structure to my day anymore. I've had good consistency. I've made good progress through the spring, but we don't want you to look back at the end of August, which, by the way, is the longest month of the year for the Watier household. We don't want you to like look, because what we find is this isn't an intentional, like, I'll just get back on track in September mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's now that the schedule's kind of open, you got more variability, more opportunities, your environment's changed, your structure, your schedule's changed. We just don't want you to walk into August feeling deflated and have kind of lost the mojo and the momentum that you've gained up until this point through this year.
Yeah.
And have you kind of in August be like, all right, once the kids go back to school and the travel calms down and we check the box for the family vacation, if you're vacationing this summer, or the family that was visiting goes home, right? And you're starting to dial it back in, and then the holidays are looming, right? The end of the year.
Yeah.
Like, you don't typically think I'll just, you know what? I'll just restart in September. It's kind of this slow burn that happens in the day-to-day. So that's the all or nothing trap. And we're going to dismantle that today and give you some really clear fasting lifestyle action steps. So it's not just about how to ride this season, it's more about how to proactively prepare for the season, to ride through and enjoy it without backsliding. So no white knuckling, no perfect plan, just a handful of strategic moves that you can operate and run from: a beach chair, a hotel room, a backyard barbecue. And you can truly walk into fall a different person, riding that momentum that you've gained so far this year.
A few priorities to keep you from feeling like you're just having to figure it out in the moment, or that you kind of default to some of that freelancing. But then again, without the look back, without the regret of the kind of summer slide where it was like a frog in a boiling pot of water, where it just kind of, it continued to dissolve away some of what has given you success during the beginning part of the year. So I really like that intention, and avoiding that all or nothing thinking, especially as we get into the summer, means that you're always, keeping that foundation. You're never letting it go to the floor, right? Never letting your habits go to zero.
Yeah. So this is the like always something, not all or nothing framing. Like, we always want to be doing something to move us forward or to keep that momentum, right? So 3 forces hit pretty quickly in this summer transition. It's the schedule. So your morning routine's different. Your fasting windows might look different. Your sleep might be different. I don't know about you, but it's light out late. So my kids want to go in the pool and do stuff after dinner, where before it's like they're winding down ready for bed. So we don't have to get up for school the next morning. So bedtimes can slip, which then pushes your opportunity for snack accidents later. And dinner times change. And then you've got more social stuff, the vacations and the travel and the barbecues and the cookouts. I know growing up in New England, it was like Memorial Day to Labor Day. Like that was our summer. It wasn't guaranteed to be nice weather before and or after. That's when we opened my parents' old above ground pool Memorial Day weekend, and we closed it Labor Day. Like that, those were the goalposts, right?
Yep.
And we don't want you to fall into that looking back or feeling like like you failed throughout the summer or lost that progress. So This came up on a coaching call, Tommy, where you said it and I was thinking it. But we want to talk about this concept of keepy uppy with your fasting habits and your fasting lifestyle. So let's break it down.
Okay, so in the popular game Keepy Uppy, which we've probably been playing around our house since my daughter was maybe around 1, in the 1 to 2 range.
We just had a couple of birthdays, so balloons were like I just find
everywhere.
Random balloons in random places in the house. I'm like, oh, look at that, there's still a balloon, and then a subsequent game of keepy uppy ensues.
100%. So maybe for the last 7 years or so, we've been playing some keepy uppy. So getting a balloon, right? It's a very easy game. It just takes a little bit of focus, and then you can see how long you can keep a balloon up in the air. So if you think about your fasting habits, your fasting lifestyle, it's not about having the perfect plan executed perfectly all the time. What it's about is that you know what levers have been helping you, maintain some structure, a sense of feeling well, making one fast a little bit easier, rather than food choices that make things a little bit harder during your next fast. So all of these things kind of link together. And when we keep our eye on the prize with a little bit of focus, then we think about, okay, I never want to let that balloon touch the ground. So I also never want to let my fasting habits and my fasting lifestyle go to zero. I never want to be thinking, yeah, I'm not really fasting, today or this week or throughout the summer because I have so many things going on, or whatever the specific situation is. No, we want to keep that balloon from hitting the ground. So even if you're used to 30-hour fasts or 23-hour OMAD fasts, or you're used to consistently pulling off 18 or 20-hour fast, well, what does the floor look like? What could you do that's not zero? So instead of that all or nothing, hey, this is a busy week, or I have a lot of plans this week, or it's Memorial Day weekend, it's Labor Day weekend,
going on vacation,
yeah, vacation. Woo, that's a big one, where it can feel like I'm gonna push pause on my fasting lifestyle. What would be a lot better would be take the things that have given you some success, that help you out, that are part of your fasting lifestyle, and just do them to a lower degree. Okay. But remember, in keepy uppy, it doesn't matter how close to the ground that the balloon gets, it's that it doesn't touch the ground. So it doesn't actually go to zero. So what if you set your fasting timer for a 12-hour fast? What about a 14-hour fast, 15-hour fast? Could you pull that off while you're on vacation? So do you really have to think about it, that I'm not fasting just because I'm on a cruise, or I'm in Mexico, or something else like that? Or can I insert something that keeps my habits from going to zero?
If you're truly living a fasting lifestyle, I use this analogy, and I don't know if it's completely accurate, but this just keeps coming to mind, is like, if you're a vegetarian and I'm a carnivore and we go on vacation, I'm not just going to automatically like start eating salads.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it's part of like my lifestyle and my choices and my core values of how I make my food choices. Right? So it's like, oh, it's summer, so I'm just going to throw everything out the window. Now, here's the reality of the game keepy uppy. Summer fasting is truly keepy uppy. The game doesn't take much effort to play that game. Right? It just takes a little attention.
Yeah, focus.
And when it does hit the floor, you don't cry and go, woe is me, I'll just throw the baby out of the bathwater. You just pick the balloon back up and keep playing.
No, it'd be like popping the balloon just because it hit the floor.
Oh, right? Game's over.
Yeah, we're never playing this again.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's like my daughter, when she plays this game, she's really good at it. Mm-hmm. Quick reflexes, but then like butterfly or a squirrel will like run by the window outside and she's poof, gone.
Yeah.
The game's over. Like,
all of a sudden your 90 hit streak goes to zero, right?
Yeah, and it's like, pay attention. Like, so it doesn't take a lot of effort to keep the balloon up. It just takes a little bit of attention. So your balloon is your window, your water, your salt, your clean meal, your one nutrition opportunity. And the goal isn't to play perfectly. It's just to keep that thing up in the air. So I love the fact that we talked about the shortened summer window still counts.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
That 14, 15-hour fast, it still counts. But I also like, that applies to travel, baseball, beach day, vacation, whatever it is. But I love this concept that we were talking through, Tommy, is anchor the close, not the open, right? Or don't try to manage both at the same time. So if you're trying to defend both goal lines on a football field or soccer field, you're not going to have success.
True.
Right? So maybe for that season or this period, it's pick a hard cutoff like at 7 p.m., but let your open float a little bit.
I like that.
Because it's easier to defend one boundary than two when the environment and the schedule keeps changing and you're just going, I just want to stick to my plan, right?
Yeah. Too many degrees of separation, too many variables that once one gets away from you and you feel like you needed to control multiple, then all of a sudden it feels like, well, the other one's kind of outside of my control too, or it's easy to kind of throw your hands up and go, oh, well, the balloon hit the floor. I guess we're not playing anymore. But if you really set your sights on that one, anchoring to one, which I think the close is definitely the more important one, because whenever that window is closing, whether it's a a 1 hour window or it's a 6 hour nutrition opportunity window. Either way, whenever it closes, your insulin sensitivity is lower because it's later on in the day. So for you to defend the close rather than the open is a really good focal point. Also, when it opens, if you go, hey, you know what? Every plate, protein first. Okay. Prioritize protein first, every single plate. Then what that means is that whenever you open, even if it's a floating open, it's a little bit earlier than normal, you weren't really sure exactly what time you were going to open that nutrition opportunity window. If you prioritize protein, it helps to set your satiation, your hunger cues. It gives your body plenty of amino acids so your body feels, okay, we can continue to burn fat because other resources are plentiful. Okay. And that's what you want, hormonally speaking. It's going to lead to a better hormonal environment where you're going to be more in fat burning mode. And the other thing about it is that it it helps set the tone for your blood sugar and your insulin response. And so what that means is that whatever you consume during that nutrition opportunity window, it's going to have a better effect on your body rather than if you hadn't led with protein, which means it's actually going to be easier to defend the close
Yep.
because you prioritize protein whenever
Yep.
you opened, even if it was a longer nutrition window. So it's less about the perfect window. It's less about being worried about what you're going to eat during that window. If you open it the right way, it's going to be so much easier to close it, and then your next fast is going to be so much easier too.
Yeah, 100%. So just defend one
Hmm.
during those weeks of transition. Um, Two other big categories that come up are traveling, like travel days. So for me with fasting, like travel days extend my fast, they don't end it.
Hmm.
Long drives, flights. For me, they've become a naturally lower effort fasting window. So I just stick to my water and electrolytes, and I use the inconvenience of the travel to my fasting advantage rather than just opening up the cooler or the bag. We always travel with a cold bag and a snack bag when we're on our long drives
Hmm.
for our yearly summer Florida vacation. And that bag is constantly opened.
Right.
But I'm just chilling in the driver's seat, just sipping on my coffee, right?
Hmm.
Sipping on my water. Like, turn that 5 hour drive into a simple fast rather than an excuse to graze a gas station aisle.
True. Yeah.
Now, it just takes some time, right? And the other big category, so the travel days or travel, and then the event day. So you've got a barbecue, you've got a 4th of July party, whatever it is, right? Like, let the event be your meal.
Hmm.
So if the barbecue's at 4, shift your window so the event is your meal. Don't fight the event, pre-plan around it, right? So if you're going to go to the bar, prioritize protein and then put a little bit of intentionality into the experience of the event. Pick the things you want to eat, enjoy them, give
Hmm.
yourself some grace, have fun, live life. But a little bit of prioritizing protein and just cleaning the window up before this event
Hmm.
during the summer can make a huge difference in how you feel the next day, to your point earlier, Tommy.
You know what's nice too? If you go into an event and you didn't know what was going to be on the menu, so if you have a menu ahead of time or you walk into something, scan through for a few seconds, give yourself a chance to make a decision before you're just bombarded with food choices or somebody's handing you a plate or because in the moment it's a little tougher to make a good logical rational decision. Okay, so a little bit of pre-planning goes a long way, even if it's just a few seconds. But then also if you're walking into somewhere, like take a lap around, say hi to people, but you can also see what other people are munching on at that point. And maybe if it's a buffet setup or a spread, then you can take a look and you can go, okay, there's where my protein's going to come from. Ooh, that looks good. Maybe there's one or two like indulgent items, something that you wouldn't normally have. It looks really good. You want to try it. Then do it on purpose rather than just kind of like, no, I don't really want to do that. And I'm trying to, be really good here. And then you try to maintain like this perfect, I'm going to be good, rather than just going like, yeah, I want to enjoy one or two things. So let me just pick my favorite and actually have those and then enjoy it. I'll feel good about it. It's not going to be the end of the world. Sure,
Right.
maybe the scale's up point 0.3 tomorrow because of a little extra water retention or whatever. Who cares, right? But even just giving yourself permission in the
Yep.
moment ahead of time to actually enjoy it rather than living in that like, oh, should I, shouldn't I, and then maybe regretting it later, that kind of stuff, or overdoing it because you weren't upfront about it, right? You ended up just driving by, doing drive-bys, at the buffet. That's where things can get slippery.
Yeah, and so just keep picturing the game keepy uppy, right? There's no scoreboard or perfect hit or technique grade. You just tap it and somebody else taps it and it drifts and you reach a little, you laugh, you bump it back up.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's dropped, you just bump it back up, pick it up and start over again, right? So instead of asking to all of these things, and I want to go through like rat-a-tat-tat some of the um, scenarios with included action steps in those 5 categories that I mentioned earlier. But instead of asking like, did I do everything perfectly today? Like, we want you to ask, did I keep the balloon up? Maybe it's that shorter fasting window or choosing that protein we're talking through, or that 10-minute walk that you just mentioned, Tommy. Like, but you always have defending one of those anchors, the start or the end of your day, as your next opportunity to make that positive 1% better choice. And those tiny little taps are how you enjoy and get through the summer, taking the pressure off of this transformative process of losing the weight and keeping it off for good, right? So let's talk through some of the real actionable stuff here. We've already hit a few on these, but I want to make this really kind of concrete so you guys can take 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 of these and really apply them in real time. That's what the Fasting for Life lifestyle is all about. It's this adaptation process about taking something you hear and putting it immediately into action, right? So we talked about, baseline, maybe that it's a shorter summer fasting window. We talked about anchor the close and or the open, not both. We talked about travel days, extend, not abandon. We talked about the event day pivot, right, with the barbecue or the outdoor, whatever it is, or the pool time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to miss this one. Do one longer fast per week. 22, 24,
Mm-hmm.
26, 30, one overnight fast, one full day fast, because this is really where you're going to keep your insulin and metabolic switch sharp. And it's also going to still fuel your fasting identity. And here's the catch. Pick the easiest day, not the perfect day. Whichever day that week that fits in where you're like, yeah, I can definitely, that's the day. But that keeps that fasting tool belt and the tools in your tool belt sharp so you don't lose that as you go throughout the season.
Yeah, it keeps that muscle really strong so that the next time you go to do that, or when the summer's over, or when the season's less busy, or whatever your transition time looks like for you, that whenever you go to do those longer fasts again, it's not like you just haven't been doing that. So it's again like keepy uppy, just keeping it flexed, keeping it warmed up so that you're able to call on it exactly when things are more predictable, or even occasionally when things are less predictable, like it can be during the summer. The summer is kind of a double-edged sword too, because sometimes it feels like there's a lot less structure, but then sometimes it might feel so busy that a lot of decisions are kind of made for you. So, but when we have that, we can either take that and use those circumstances and kind of pivot around them, work around them proactively, and make the best out of those situations, especially if we give ourselves some grace, follow the 80% rule, progress over perfection, where we're keeping these things going, but we're not looking to just hit home runs every single day or every single week. Or these situations we can feel like we're getting used by these situations, or like we're just kind of getting dragged along for the ride sometimes.
Yep. All right, so that's fasting windows and fasting kind of application. Let's talk about food choices. We already talked about protein first, every plate, barbecue restaurant, hotel breakfast, sets the day, closes the day, kills the snack accident cycle, right? But I also want to hit this one, the one thing you actually want rule.
Ooh,
The ice cream shop's open, the homemade custard, the Johnny Pop popsicle, that's something that we have in our house, right?
Yeah.
So instead of grazing all afternoon, poolside or vacation side or travel baseball side, whatever it is, pick one of the indulgences you generally want and eat it on purpose during your window, because it's the drive-by eating is what kills the momentum of the week.
Right, exactly.
Right? So default snacks on travel, right? So if you're going to have snacks, make sure they're protein paste. Hard-boiled eggs, jerky, cheese, nuts, deli meat roll-ups, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to extend your fast on travel days, make sure to put those in. It's that marketing department test, right? My son and my
Okay.
daughter do this all the time because Meg and I prioritize protein so much, and we just inherently talk about it. That we were at the gym the other day, and we always, Megan and I, they'll go to kids club, we'll work out, we'll do a little weekly meeting in the cafe, and then they always want to get a smoothie. But this week, my son was like, "Dad, I want the Pop Tarts. There's 20 grams of protein in them."
Okay.
And I was like, "You're not getting the Pop Tarts, dude. Like, you already just had a smoothie." But he already knows, like, if there's 12 plus, if there's protein on the box and not a whole bunch of added sugar, great. If it's kind of outside of that and you're like, I don't really know about this one, then just move on. But put something, and that's why the one thing you actually want rule is so key for the summer. It takes the pressure off of, man, I shouldn't be eating this ice cream at 7 p.m. after the baseball game. But you know what? I'm going to protect one of the anchors. I'm going to make sure my morning starts good tomorrow. I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk after I eat this tonight. Whatever it is, it just takes the pressure off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then one caveat with the food choices is the restaurant menu and the hotel breakfast, right? Like continental breakfast and breakfast foods here in the United States is mostly dessert for breakfast.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's where that prioritizing protein comes in. So eggs, bacon, sausage, fruit. That's where you go. Walk past the Danish muffin tower, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're in that insulin resistance, blood sugar management, diabetes type category. But definitely, my wife is so good at this. Is like she's very intentional about her food choices, but she also likes to enjoy herself because she's a foodie. But give that restaurant menu a scan. And any of you that have traveled with family know that the entire family schedule revolves around when we're eating next and who's getting the donuts and
Oh yeah.
right. Like travel with family, man. It's a lot of food and snacks, and Grandma's making her thing, and Aunt Susie's making her famous guacamole, and enjoy yourself. But just we want to put some of those soft boundaries. We want to play keepy uppy.
Keepy uppy.
Tommy, let's talk about hydration, and then we'll go into movement and mindset, and then we'll wrap up.
Well, hydration is always important, and the longer you're fast, the more it becomes that it needs to be intentional, it needs to be early in the day, and it's very, very important. But it has a seasonality component of that as well, because even as temperatures increase, you're going to be sweating more, even if it's not like a noticeable perspiration. And in order for your body to sweat, you have to release some electrolytes. That's how it goes to push water out.
Especially if you're fasting and or doing low carb.
Oh yeah, 100%. So that's only going to compound it, or I should say the sweating really just compounds that as the seasonality, as the summer kicks in and it gets hotter. Especially if you're spending more time outdoors. So what you want to make sure is that in our keepy uppy framework, that you absolutely have something that you do each morning. It shouldn't take very long, but it helps to remind you to keep that very, very important prioritized fasting habit at the forefront. So, take some salt, take a salt shaker, move it over to where, put it inside your favorite coffee mug.
I put this near the coffee machine.
You did? Okay.
Every morning.
Yeah.
I just put this there and I'm like, oh yeah, with my little packet. My wife lays out her pre-workout stuff and it's like, boom, it's there.
There's no way you're going to miss it, right?
It's like the whole, I got to get up early and go to the gym. Well, lay your clothes out the night before.
Yeah.
Like that truly does work. Same thing here, like with salt and water before sun.
Mm-hmm. Because especially before you feel like you've kind of come online and you're ready for the day, getting up first thing in the morning, make it really, really easy for yourself. Okay. So think about yourself as just kind of half there, half awake, and you really want to make it a non-decision point for yourself. So, and it only takes starting the day off with a little bit of salt, maybe half a gram to a gram, and you could chug that, you could shoot it, you could start off with a few sprinkles or some salt crystals under your tongue, or just crunch them and swallow them. Either way, you just remember that your overnight cycle, when you wake up from that, that's your most dehydrated time, unless you're going to have extended hours out in the sun the next day. Yep. That could be a more dehydrated time. But typically day to day, it's going to be your overnight cycle is the most dehydrating part. So that means when you're waking up, you're at the most dehydrated that you could be, which means everything feels like it's moving slower. The caffeine doesn't work as well because you're dehydrated. Salt will work faster to help you feel like you're coming online. Even more, it will work faster than caffeine will. So that's a great foundational habit. It's also going to help you feel like you're more in control so that you can make some better foundational floor fasting decisions for the day and also continue to make good food choices. Prioritizing protein is a lot easier when you're feeling well in the
Yep.
afternoon versus if you're not feeling great because you didn't prioritize that hydration first thing.
Here's two other things I personally want to mention in this category of hydration and electrolytes is, for me, I just don't drink anymore. It's been multiple years. No rock bottom to speak of. Just juice wasn't worth the squeeze anymore with 3 kids and the busy schedules that we keep. And so it just kind of phased out of our date nights and those. It was just kind of a natural progression of things. But so for me, I always do sparkling water. So when we go to the movie theater that has all the craft beers that sometimes no longer call to my name, but sometimes used to in those environments, right? In those settings, the sparkling water is a great cookout bar, beach hack where you order it, nobody even thinks twice. And some of that social pressure kind of dissolves. So I love the sparkling water hack or the Waterloo or the, I don't know, my kids are drinking like some Shirley Temple Poppy now or something. I don't know. Right. And then the second one for me is in this water hydration conversation is caffeine. So summer sleep is typically already disrupted by the different travel schedules and kids out of school and late bedtimes. It's lighter out later. So for me, I need to make sure that I cut my coffee off between 12 and 1, at latest 2 if it's just a small cup of homemade coffee. Because I don't want to disrupt my sleep.
Yeah.
Because sleep is already usually disrupted in this season. Right? The movie nights, the staying up later, all that kind of stuff. So those are two things that specifically speak to me and kind of keeping that momentum, playing keepy uppy during this season. All right, let's talk about movement and mindset real quick, and then we'll wrap up.
Cool.
So movement is so key. So after your meal, walk. The hotel hallway, the pool deck, the parking lot. Move. Doesn't have to be a workout. It just has to be a walk.
Yeah.
Right? I also love the morning sun plus walk combo. So whenever my wife and I get away for a night or two and grandma and grandpa are in town, like her morning sunrise walk is like on her bucket list of things that she loves the most. It is my least favorite thing to do. But I do walk and I do get outside and see morning sunlight on most days because I know the circadian rhythm wise, fasting wise, makes my food choices easier, protects my sleep. But getting out in the morning sun with a walk, right? And if you're on vacation, follow the don't lose the strength rule. So maybe just 1 or 2 sessions of body weight workout, 10, 15 minutes, push-ups, squats, plank, 15 minutes in the hotel room. We're not looking to gain and hit PRs while we're in this season.
Sure.
We just want to play keepy uppy. That's it. Now, for me as a dad, anytime there's a pool and we're there with the kids, I know I'm going to get plenty of movement and energy output because I'm throwing them and chasing them and playing sharks and minnows. And so I know there's going to be lots of movement there.
Yeah.
But try to find those areas where you can sneak in, just kind of tapping the balloon up a little bit and really just keep a step floor, just like a fasting floor. Right? So just get your steps in. You don't need a goal at if you're one of those folks that track your steps for your movement and you have the Apple Watch that does it for you. That floor, just like fasting, protects you on the bad days, but a goal, like a hard goal, makes you quit on those days. So don't quit. Just set a floor. And hopefully that's coming through in what we're talking through, Tommy.
Yeah. Adjust your baseline. Have a floor, even though, especially if you're type A, you're very goal driven, numbers, very analytical, then it can be a little trickier to just give yourself permission to, not hit those targets temporarily, right? Because it can feel like, I don't want to negotiate down with myself. I don't want to give myself lower expectations. I'm a high expectation person. All of these kind of things. I get it. I resonate with it. So have your, hey, this is the compartment. This is when it is. Maybe it's for the whole summer. Maybe it's for this month. Maybe it's during this vacation. Whatever the bucket, the compartment is that you want to, create or kind of quarantine this situation, if you will, then do that. And then pick a realistic new goal that you can put within that compartment to stick to set your to set your sights towards. And you can have another stretch goal within there too, but it's probably going to need to be different from your normal everyday routine if this is during a kind of different season for you. And the seasons don't necessarily always change for everybody, obviously. And sometimes you might have a day or two here or a week or two here, or it could be just across the whole summer where everything goes to, everything changes, kind of all at once. So take these strategies and apply it to your specific situation and timelines, right?
Yep. Last thing is mindset and environment. So the kitchen, the cooler, the hotel mini fridge, make the default choice the right choice, because your willpower will fail, right? The next meal is the reset, not Monday, not September. Like the next meal, if lunch went sideways, dinner's a comeback if you're doing a TMAD that day.
I like that.
Right? Pre-script the one-liners. I already ate. I'm good. I'm not drinking tonight. I'll grab some later. Say it once, smile, and move on. This is my favorite two that I want to wrap up the episode with. Is end of day, one thing right drill.
Ooh.
Before bed, name one thing you did right today. Out loud or written. Boring in execution. Sounds boring. Like, why would I do this? But it's brutally effective for that self-talk loop. So end the day with the one right thing drill. Not all the things I didn't do perfectly, or all the things I want to do tomorrow, but one thing you did right that day really, 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 really resets that mindset, which leads into the stay in versus get back in. So stay in the game. Don't fall off. If you stayed in, the keepy uppy analogy, just keep tapping the balloon. That's better than the on-off diet mentality of I'll restart again on Monday, or maybe I need to restart again in September, where we started this conversation. Because, man, in August, I kind of had a come to Jesus moment. And yeah, how did this even happen?
Yeah. When you're playing keepy uppy, remember, it doesn't matter how close it gets to the ground, right?
Yeah.
You could stay an inch or a millimeter off the ground and
tap it with your toe.
Tapping it, just like that, right? And either way, you're still in the game, and that's the same thing for any of our lifestyle components, especially our fasting lifestyle, where day to day we are always making decisions that are going to affect our long-term goals with respect to our health, our weight, how good we feel, our energy levels, our longevity, all of these things. So just stay in the game and keep going even throughout, a season like the summer.
So we've said a lot of words: your fasting window, your food choices, your hydration and electrolytes, your movement, your mindset, your environment. But the reality is, pick 2 or 3 of those. Pick one out of each category. Put a little bit of thought into your of what's going to be happening this summer. Know that it's coming, right? The transitions are coming. Kids are home, etc. All the stuff we've talked about. But summer doesn't have to be all or nothing. If you just keep tapping the balloon with one small habit at a time, you'll look back in September and realize you quietly stayed in the game the whole time rather than being on the bench.
Love that.
So, action step. Forgot to mention we have a challenge coming up. June 10th. If you want a sprint accelerated way to really plan this out for the summer and get some key action steps and be with us live 7 days in a row inside of our private coaching group, you want that accelerator path, sign up for the challenge. The link is in the show notes. June 10th, that starts. If it doesn't match up perfectly with your vacation, that's okay. You're still going to have an incredible experience. We'll text you. We'll get to know you. It's a closed, amazing group and an environment that we've curated with the help of all of our OGs and our coaching clients. So we welcome you to that. But Tommy, as we engage into the summer, the Watier household of 13 weeks of summer break, and August being the longest month of the year, we don't want to look back and have those regrets. We want to keep you in the game, play the game of keepy uppy. Pick some of the action steps. Head to the show notes. Grab a link. Tommy, man, as always, I appreciate the conversation. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye. So, you've heard today's episode, and you may be wondering, where do I start? Head on over to thefastingforlife.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive fasting tips and strategies to maximize results and fit fasting into your day-to-day life.
While you're there, download your free Fast Start guide to get started today. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Fasting for Life.